Well, hello and welcome to the Informed Traveler Podcast, a weekly travel podcast where our goal is to help you become a more informed traveler. And I'm your host, Randy Sharman. Here's a question for you. Are you the type of vacationer who enjoys going back to the same place, or do you like to visit different destinations? Well, I know which category I'm in, and I can probably guess which category travel expert Onanta Forbes falls into, but she'll join us in a few seconds to discuss vacation repetition. We've also got a bonus interview for you this week, and it's a bit of a follow-up from last week's topic of retirement destinations. One of the concerns that always pops up when people choose to stay at an international destination for any length of time is healthcare. So we're going to talk with the CEO of SafetyWing, a company that specializes in international healthcare plans. Plus, travel writer and hotel reviewer Debra Smith will join us to talk about her recent stay at the Andaz Hotel in Scottsdale, Arizona. And Ken Stewart from Crowfoot Travel Solutions will be along to give us a few destination ideas and travel deals with our weekly roundup. We got lots going on, but first, let's kick things off chatting with travel expert Onanta Forbes, who joins us each week to discuss some of the travel news and travel trends. You can follow her adventures on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. Hi, Onanta.
Hi, Randy. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. We're going to talk about vacation repetition. This actually comes from a newsletter that I get from Christopher Elliott, and he is quite the travel expert, and so I highly recommend people signing up for his newsletter. And the article is called Vacation Repetition, Good Idea or Bad Idea. And I kind of know where I fall into this category, and I can kind of guess where you fall in this category. So are you a person that likes to go back to the same spot, or you like to switch it up?
I like to switch it up. I can't say I have to say that at this point of my travel life, I like to try something new because you never know when, the world environment will change, or like politically, or, due to nature or whatever. So I always say go somewhere new. But, I think travelers are divided on both, right? Repeat or try something new. And I think there's good reasons to do both. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I see. I knew that you would be in that category because I'm in that category. Although there's been some places that I've gone back to, and in the article that Christopher Elliott writes here, he uses Disneyland for an example, and that would be one place that we've gone back a couple of times. Because if you have children, your chances of going to Disneyland or someplace similar a couple of times is pretty good. And I've been to Mazatlan a couple times and places in Mexico, but for the most part, I like to switch it up too. So I don't know, each to their own. And yeah, there's pros and cons to both. And some people, when they go back to the same place, they like that stability and they like the familiarity, right?
Right. Then those are really good reasons to go back to the same place because it includes comfort and maybe it's something where your family and your friends go to, and that's kind of like your meeting place. It creates special memories. But there's also good reasons about, to get out there and travel. It changes your perspective and it makes your life more interesting. And I think too, far-flung revenge travel destinations kind of came after the pandemic with regards to trying something new and, saying to the world or to the pandemic, no, you're not going to dictate what I do. But then it also has a flip side to that because people also want somewhere safe and familiar. They know exactly what they're getting and how it works for them, where it can differ from people who want almost the unexpected by going to a new place each time that they vacation. So again, as you say, both have their pros and their cons. But I don't think whatever you decide is the right decision for you because,
Exactly.
yeah.
Well, the problem is if you're in a relationship and the other person likes to go back to the same spot and you like to go to different places. So somewhere you have to find a compromise. But there's also tips on here how to find a new place, because sometimes you can get into that familiarity and you don't even realize it. And it's like, okay, let's try something new. And it's hard to break out of.
Right. And I always like this term, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
So it's good to get out of your comfort zone. And then, as you say, look at different sources. Word of mouth recommendation from friends, from family, work colleagues, somebody that you know, like maybe ask them or kind of tune in when they are talking about where they visited. Maybe it's a destination that might surprise you. I know when I was on our recent trip in Ecuador, one of our fellow guests were from Britain and they were going to go to Madagascar. And I thought,
Wow.
Madagascar? Never thought of that. Right. And then, always your best source is a qualified travel advisor because they can help you find new places to visit. And what I like about, obviously I'm part of that group, but we're always going through training, listening to our suppliers as they come by and tell us about the destination that they're representing or the product that they're presenting, whether it's a land vacation or a cruise. And that's always interesting because as a source for our travelers or travelers in general, it helps them inspire people, right? And then
Hmm.
you can also like just look at a map, look at a globe and spin it, throw a dart and see what happens. I think
Yeah.
Google Flights has a suggested list function that will recommend places to visit. Um, but social media has broadened the world. And so with TV and different forms of, learning about the world, it intrigues you. Like Amazing Race is one of the best things to do to look at other places to go visit or not visit.
Well, yeah, exactly. And just to that point, there, I think sometimes people get caught up in their biases too. And there's lots of destinations that maybe 20 years ago you wouldn't think of going to, but now it's like it's an up and coming destination. It's becoming more and more popular, and the price is probably very good because they're trying to attract people to destinations.
Right, absolutely. I can even speak to that personally because for up until um, like 40 years old, I did not want to go to India. All I wanted to do was going to be airdropped in front of the Taj Mahal and popped out. And then all of a sudden, after a milestone birthday, it's like, no, I want to experience India. And it is definitely one that you have to plan because it's a very culturally diverse, but it was one of my best travel experiences. So you never know what's around the corner. So yeah, just be open to it. Be safe, obviously, and there's, as you say, a lot of places are getting over tourism.
Hmm.
So a lot of people are going to it. So you might want to look at a destination that maybe isn't so much scrutinized or focused on, so you can truly experience the destination, the culture, the flavor, the people.
Obviously, we're biased
Yes,
on
aren't
going to
we?
different places, but there's nothing wrong with going back to the same place. Like we said, it's the familiarity and the comfort level that you want to be in.
Well,
But
doesn't
as you
that?
and I are both on that same wavelength of try something new.
Yes, yeah, always. But when you were saying, the familiarity, Hawaii comes to mind because
Hmm.
it's like exotic and tropical, but you drive on the same side of the road, you speak English, it's easy to navigate. But it still has that flavor of you are going to a different place for vacation.
And some people do that. Like they'll go,
Mm,
like Hawaii is a really good example where they'll spend a week's vacation in Hawaii, and then they'll another week they'll go someplace that they've never been. They'll do kind of both.
right, absolutely. And what a wonderful way though to also experience our own country, right?
Hmm.
Um, because you can use Interact. It's easy to navigate to different places throughout a very broad range of experiences that you can get from coast to coast. Or so again, you don't have to leave that far to go, from home to explore something different.
The article is called Vacation Repetition, Good Idea or Bad Idea. I think we've laid out our case for going to different places, but you can find it. It's written by Christopher Elliott, his newsletter. It's a fantastic newsletter. I highly recommend it. It's Elliott Confidential. Just go to elliottconfidential.com, sign up, and you can become a subscriber and get in on his newsletter. Onanta Forbes is a travel expert. You can follow her adventures on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. Thank you, Onanta.
Thank you.
Well, we've got a bonus interview for you this week, and it's a bit of a follow-up from last week's topic of retirement destinations. And one of the concerns people have when they choose to stay at an international destination for any length of time is healthcare. So joining us now to talk about global health insurance is Sondre Roche. He is the co-founder and CEO of SafetyWing, a company that specializes in international healthcare plans. Their website is safetywing.com. Hi, Sondre.
Hey, Randy. Great to be here.
Tell me about SafetyWing, what you do, what it's all about, how you got involved.
It's all about, ultimately, the end goal of SafetyWing is to make the first country on the internet and a global social safety net for digital nomads and remote teams. And we started out 7 years ago now with a product called Nomad Insurance, which was kind of the first step in that direction, because starting with the social safety net is hard. So Nomad Insurance was it's basically like a travel insurance that's a bit more than normal covers on health, but it just works globally. So its typical user is someone who is the kind of digital nomad, which is, you don't have to identify as such, but you live abroad and you have typically income online. So you can buy this product if you're going on a holiday, but the typical user for long periods of time abroad.
So I'm thinking of anyone who wants to do a long stay, and you're seeing more and more of that. People that, rent apartments or something for a couple of months in Mexico or Europe or wherever, regardless of whether they're working or not. Some might be working, some may be on vacation, but this is the type of product that's suited for that type of traveler, right?
That's right. So we also have another one called Nomad Health, which is, an international health insurance. So that's same that you can also technically have in your home country, although it's mostly used by the kind of same demographic, but the kind of more committed ones, someone who's typically permanently living abroad. And we also have a company side, Remote Health, that is essentially the same products, but for companies.
Well, let's focus on the insurance for nomads, since most of our audience is the general public. So how does it work now? It's just as simple as finding a policy that works for you, for your sort of situation, age group, that sort of thing, right? It's really that simple.
Exactly. So you find we put a huge effort into making it simple. You can see the price on the front page, and you sign up in 3-4 minutes, and there's nothing hard. It's like your email. It's like signing up to anyone.
And I gather, like, if I'm just using the example, if I'm going somewhere for a long stay for, let's say, 3 months, but I don't pay the full 3 months up front, right? It's like paid every 4 weeks. Is that correct?
That's right. So it's that's just the closest we could get to monthly, because it's priced daily. So we have to put an exact number of days, hence 4 weeks instead of monthly. But yeah, so it runs like a subscription that you can kind of pause every month. So technically speaking, the insurance end date extends every month, provided you don't cancel it. So that gives a lot of flexibility. So you can buy this when you're already abroad and have it run as this sort of subscription and kind of pause it whenever. So that's a big part of the draw, is kind of this flexibility.
Yeah, which makes it a lot easier. I'm not forking out thousands of dollars for a policy. It's sort of spread out kind of thing. And like you said,
Exactly.
if you wanted to pause it, it's simple as that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
What's covered? I don't want to get into the full details because there are so many variables and factors. And I guess the best thing to do is just go on to SafetyWing.com and look at what's covered, because I'm looking at things like injuries from leisure sports and activities and motor vehicle accidents, even as far as insurance for covering your flights if something happens. There's all kinds of things that are covered, right?
No, for sure. I mean, the majority of the value is the health part by far. So if you need to go to the doctor abroad for any reason, then that's covered. But also like serious things like long hospital stays, medical evacuation, etc. So that's probably the bulk of it. But yeah, you also have the other kind of more standard travel coverage is also in there, like you lost your luggage, or your flight gets interrupted.
I guess it's easier just to say what's not covered, and you include that on your website too. It's a much shorter list. So how does it work for making a claim? Is it something that, I don't know, let's use an example. I break my leg in a car accident or something like that, and assuming that all things are equal as far as, the conditions of that, do I have to pay up front and then get reimbursed, or is there a number I call and you contact the hospital or whatever and everything's looked after? How does that work?
There are one of two ways. So you can go anywhere, like to any hospital or doctor, and pay and then get reimbursed after, which is now actually really, really fast and easy. Or you call us, and then a lot of the time we will then be able to send you to a hospital we know that they can bill us directly.
Mm-hmm.
If it is something more expensive, we'll always try to set up direct billing. If you haven't called us in advance and you're just going for like a regular doctor visit, we're probably not going to try to set up direct billing. Then reimbursement is easier.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if there's something serious, and so almost always would then work directly with the hospital. So you don't have to pay and get reimbursed, but we pay the hospital directly.
Nice. Like I said, it's a lot easier just to go on your website, SafetyWing.com, because there's so many variables. Every person is different in their circumstance. That's probably the best thing to do, and instead of going through all the conditions and things like that. Anything else that you might want to add?
I guess one thing that they might not be aware of, is that there is like a whole world for this sort of digital nomad world, which has been made, so much more easy to do of late. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of hotels being rebuilt for this use case, typically a little bit cheaper. They've rebuilt maybe their cafeteria into a co-working space. And there's whole resorts being rebuilt for this purpose. And it's a fascinating community and a kind of great growth area. And we do see more and more people who are older also kind of get into this lifestyle, both because we see bigger groups, children have this, but also because, of course, with COVID, a lot of people who aren't just young and in tech, but also all kinds of people have gotten
Mm-hmm.
remote jobs and are kind of slowly learning that, hey, I'm actually working from home. We could actually work from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're in that situation, this is something that becomes so much easier to do of late. So I would highly recommend it.
Yeah, I would think too that if that was one of the barriers preventing someone from, working remotely or being a nomad, living 6 months somewhere else, working, if this was something that was stopping them, now they have no reason, right?
Right, exactly. No, they have their excuses are gone, and we're providing a small piece of that puzzle of just making it easier. But I'm so excited about. It's one of the great things about our time that that's now possible.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sondre Roche is the co-founder and CEO of SafetyWing. Again, you can find all the details on their website, safetywing.com. It was a pleasure chatting with you, Sondre. Thank you so much.
thank you, Randy.
Well, Scottsdale, Arizona has always been a popular spot for a quick getaway or a longer stay vacation. And travel writer and hotel reviewer Debra Smith was recently there, staying at the Andaz Hotel in Scottsdale. And Debra joins us now to give us her thoughts on the Andaz and visiting Scottsdale in general. And she recently wrote about it on her website, wheretolady.com. Hi, Debra.
Hi, Randy.
We're going to talk about the Andaz Hotel in Scottsdale. I just happened to pull up the website because I've never stayed there. It looks absolutely fabulous.
You know, it's interesting because Scottsdale is a place that really knows how to do hotels properties just beautifully, and the Andaz is a really good example of that. It bills itself as a resort and bungalows, which is what it is. And it has a wonderful mid-century modern vibe going all through the property. And I think part of this is probably because of the influence, of course, of Frank Lloyd Wright's Taliesin West and the Prairie style. And it's very much apparent there that this is where they're taking their cues from. So they've got about 23 acres of gardens, which of course I love. And to get to your bungalow or suite or villa, you walk through these gorgeous gardens, and you don't often, when you think about the desert, you don't think about how incredibly lush it can be if it's well planted. And it's something, as we're in drought or low water situations, something to really keep in mind. And they do that so well. And really, it's just a pleasure to get up in the morning and walk through there and hear the birds up in the trees and the cactus, and it's gorgeous. So I think it justifies a very high rating in my view for many reasons. That's part of it.
Well, I was going to ask you what your first impression was. I think you answered that with the gardens, and I am looking again on the website. It is a Hyatt hotel, so you can find it at Hyatt.com, but it does look absolutely amazing. Now, for those who have never been to Scottsdale, maybe we should just say that Scottsdale is, I don't want to use the word suburb, but it's part of the greater Phoenix area, right?
Right. Yes, you're exactly right. Yeah. So you're a bit away from the hustle and bustle of, if you can say that, of downtown Phoenix when you're at the Andaz, and you actually feel very much, not just because of the gardens, but you actually do feel surrounded by nature there. You're very close to the desert, and the mountains are all around. If I could talk a bit about the rooms and the way that they bring that into your experience. All of these bungalows are done in an adobe style, so that's something that you would associate with the desert right away. They all have patios in the back, so you can walk out, and they're high walled patios, so they're quite private. But you also still have a view of the mountains around there, so nature is right there, and also, another thing they do is they bring in artwork in the bungalows that are in the suites that are done by local artists, and they usually have a desert theme associated with them or a Western theme associated with them, and that's quite lovely too. Now they have 3 pools there. They have one that's quite near the restaurant, which is the Wefton Warp Art Bar and Kitchen. So right away, art again is showing up. And there's one that's open 24 hours that's near the spa. They have quite a large spa there, 12,000 square feet, the Palo Verde Spa, which is lovely. And then they have a section of the hotel that's called the Retreat, which is more secluded and has a private pool that just serves guests in the area, which is nice as well. But the thing is, I don't know if you're there, how much time you're going to be spending out in relaxing at the pool or relaxing at the bungalow, because they have so many activities there. It's unbelievable. And this is another reason that I would rate this hotel really highly. They have experiences there. The list beside the front door just goes on and on. They have yoga classes, which most hotels have, but they have aerial yoga, which I don't know if you've ever tried it, but it's quite challenging. And they've got, you can walk through, they have garden tours, they have an apiary. In the mornings, they occasionally will bring in birds of prey, so you can look at a falcon while you're having your breakfast and talk to the handlers and find out all about them. In the evenings, they have s'mores by the fire, and they have live music several nights a week. You can do all kinds of things. I mean, really, the list goes on and on. But one of the things that I did that I loved was a tour of cattle track. Now, you're probably wondering, what's cattle track? Well, cattle track.
That was my next question. What is cattle track?
What is cattle track? Cattle track is an arts compound that has been in existence for about 80 years. It started off as just a home, basically, on the edge of town, but it has grown into this arts center that hosts between about 16 and 20 artists working in all mediums, in an incredible place that's a National Historic Site now. The first buildings there were actually built out of the staves of the lines that were carrying water to Phoenix. Unbelievable. It's so rustic, but so beautiful. And it's a series of interconnected studios. So you just walk through from one to the other and you see what people are working on, and they work in all mediums. And it's just an amazing place to visit. The art is fantastic. The people are terrific. And there's a strong connection with the Andaz there and cattle track. As I mentioned, a lot of the art in the rooms comes from cattle track. A lot of the pieces that you'll see, for example, Mark McDowell, who's been living there and working there since the 1970s, and he's sort of the unofficial spokesman for cattle track. He works in pencil on birchwood, and he actually created a full-size tractor drawing in the dining room, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you walk in there and it takes up an entire wall. It's beautiful. And his work is fantastic. Chance Phillips, she's a fiber artist. She works in, she says she paints with wool, which is really what she does. She does these fantastical landscapes, and she also does figures and also sort of more modern pieces, several of which you'll also find at the hotel. So there's a big connection there. And not only that, but Mark is in a band, and his band will come and play at the Andaz one evening. So, it's a really strong connection. They're called the Dusty Ramblers Project, and they've been going for quite some time. He actually plays with Nils Lofgren from time to time, and Nils lives there as well. So, big connection with music. And in addition to that, if you haven't been to Scottsdale before, it's really full of music, and it's full of art, and it's a great place for culture lovers. I could suggest, for example, the Musical Instrument Museum, which is a must-see for anybody that's interested in music. There's floor after floor of the most amazing, iconic instruments, and from all over the world. And as you walk through, you can actually play little snippets of whatever it happens to be, drums or, pianos or whatever. And I mean, that's just scratching the surface. I mean, they have exotic instruments from around the world. Quite interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like a lot of fun. How easy is it to get around if you wanted to explore the rest of Scottsdale from your hotel? Would you need a car, or is it walkable? How does that work?
Well, they will actually, they have a car service, and they'll drop you off. I think it's within a 3-mile radius, which will take you to Old Town. You find your own way back, but you can get over there, and they'll also take you back and forth to Cattle Track, which is just about a mile away. It's not too far. So, and there's also a mall, a very nice mall, just around the corner, a short distance away, with different restaurants if you're feeling like Mexican or something, for example. Although I must say that the food at Weft and Warp is excellent, but if you're in the mood for something else, there's restaurants within walking distance.
Well, it sounds the kind of place, again, I'm looking on the website, the Hyatt website. It's a Hyatt hotel, the Andaz, Scottsdale. The pool looks amazing, and it does look high end, but it sounds like it's a fun high end place. Is that,
Yes,
is that
exactly.
fair to describe? Because it seems like there's a lot of fun going on.
Oh yeah, it's very relaxed. I mean, you'll feel comfortable there, whatever you happen to be doing. And that main pool is quite something to see. Some of the bungalows have their own cabanas, which is nice if you want to do that. But again, I was kind of taken with the idea that the pool near the spa is open 24 hours and you can just wander over there and sit in the pool and look up at the beautiful stars, at the night sky, and enjoy yourself that way. So,
and being a part of the greater Phoenix area, it's easy to get to. I mean, there's thousands of flights coming from all over into Phoenix Airport, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So now, who would you say would be the best people to stay there? What kind of clientele? Is it couples? Is it families? Who would enjoy this the most, to get the most out of it?
Well, I think you're absolutely right in that. Couples, I'm sure they would, families too. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can organize. For example, if you wanted to go off-roading into the desert, they can definitely arrange that through, say, Stellar Adventures, for example. They'll come and pick you up in an ATV and take you out to the desert and tell you all about all the animals and plants and everything that you can find out there. I think it would be good for families as well. Yeah.
Well, like I said, it looks like a fabulous place to stay if you're in the Scottsdale area or looking to visit Arizona. Probably a good spot to rest your head for a couple of days. It's the Andaz Hotel in Scottsdale. You can find out more information on the Hyatt website, and you can check out Debra Smith's website, wheretolady.com. Thanks for chatting, Debra. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, yes. Same here. Thanks, Randy. Have a good day.
This is the Informed Traveler Podcast. I'm Randy Sharman. Just want to remind you of our website, theinformedtraveler.org. That's where you can find our contact page if you have any questions or comments about the podcast. You can also email me as well with any questions you might have. My email address is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you want to get up-to-date travel info through the week or just see a few amusing travel stories and links, you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/informedtraveler. You can follow us on Instagram as well at Informed Traveler, or you can follow me on X at Informed Traveler. So now, as always, I'd like to end the show with our weekly roundup, and joining us to do that is Ken Stewart from Crowfoot Travel Solutions. Good day, sir.
Hello, Randy. Hello, everybody.
How was your week?
It was good, and we talk about this a lot. So again, whether you're traveling now or not, check those passports and your PR cards and any other documents you need to use to travel. Make sure they're valid. A lot of countries now are offering, asking that the passports be valid for a minimum of 6 months after your travel date, so the end of your travel. And I know I just submitted my own this past week because it was coming up for renewal and I wanted to get her done. Lines were not too bad. I was surprised, though. It opens at 8:30, so I figured, okay, I'm going to be ambitious. I was going to be there at 8, and there were already about 50 people in
That's
line.
what happened to me, too. I had to renew our passports for our children. Same thing. Yeah, I'm going to beat the lineup.
Yep.
Nope.
So a 10-year passport was $160, and they'll mail it out to you in about 20 business days. Or if you want to pick it up, it's ready in about 10 business days, and it's $180. So I went with the $180 one because I want to get it.
I'm with you. I did not do the mail. I went and picked it up.
Yeah, exactly. And remember, if you're traveling into a country that you've never really been before and you're working with a travel agent, they can assist you. But you should always be responsible and just double check the either the Canadian government website. They're always up to date on their travel entry requirements and everything for countries for Canadians as well. You can always call the consulate for the country that you're going to be traveling to. Make sure that information is up to date and you meet the entry requirements. Last thing you want to do is show up at the airport and they say, nope, can't come in.
Yeah.
Like most recently, Thailand changed from a 60-day to a 30-day stay. So again, people might want to change their holidays.
And speaking of passports, I did see a story about the Dominican Republic saying that you do not need that 6 months minimum requirement for your passport. So
Yeah, and there's
Interesting
a
on
lot
that.
of countries. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Mexico and the U.S., theoretically, it's in there, it's written, but it's not enforced.
Yeah.
Again, they just want it to be valid for the length of your stay.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a good point for those things. Again, like I say, you got to check out the countries. Some do, some don't.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's the suppliers as well.
True.
Because if you're doing a river cruise, you're going to multiple countries. So
This is
again,
true.
they usually say 6 months, and that's the reason I'm getting mine done earlier, so I can get all my stuff updated for cruise later this year.
Nice. Okay.
Gary, Mr. Asia, is still real excited about WestJet's year-round flights to Tokyo starting in October. So again, Japan is a great destination, and Tokyo provides a great connection point for other destinations in Southeast Asia. I know we talked last week about a couple of cruises that start in Japan and go all the way over across the Arctic and down through Alaska and everything like that. So you could tie those in with a direct flight over. And he's also putting together an exclusive group for the foodies out there. Your own guide, personal Ham Pham. He was actually the production manager and tour guide for Anthony Bourdain, well-known
Oh.
famous chef and cultural traveler, when he
Mm-hmm.
filmed his show over there. So space is limited. So if that's something you might be interested in, getting some information, reach out to Gary sooner than later. And if you're not a foodie, Gary can still put together some great personal vacations over there. Customize it to exactly what you want to do. And we've had really good success, and we actually have some of our own suppliers and everything too now that he worked with directly. So
That'd be fun.
it would be.
Mm-hmm.
Golf season's here and busy. Just a reminder, we can help you put together packages or build a package. Maybe you want to go over to the UK, some great courses in Scotland, Wales, maybe next winter, or you want to do a long stay. Portugal is always popular. And again, speaking of Thailand, now that you can go for 60 days, great weather and great golf prices, especially over Thailand for the courses and stuff over there. And if you look at the number of, especially the ladies that are on the pro circuit now, a lot of them are coming from over in Southeast Asia. So again, lots of golf over there. Example, we had one recently just come out, Portugal golf package, 21 days, 1-bedroom apartment, car rental, unlimited golf at 5 courses, only $35.10 per person for the land package. So again, that's, you break that all down and throw in, 10, 15 rounds of golf in the 21 days. That's a really good deal.
Well, 21 days in itself, even without the golf, is a great deal.
We also can do packages. A few that are coming up is the Phoenix Open in 2025, as well as the Ryder Cup in 2025, which is being held in Long Island, New York. So again, a great opportunity. If you're a golf fan, you can take in the Ryder Cup, tie in a few days in fabulous New York City, and then maybe even do a cruise either before or after. So lots of opportunities to double dip on that one airfare.
Yeah, I like it.
This last week, July 1st, Air Canada Vacation Savings, new bookings for sun destinations. And we talked a lot about this. So hopefully you're, taking advantage of, if you're thinking of traveling this winter, $250 a person for a family of 4 like yourself. That's $1,000 on select vacations. Lots to choose from. And with ACV, you always earn your Aeroplan points on the flights. And I know you're a collector. And again, if you got a bunch of those points, you can convert them now into an Air Canada gift card, and Air Canada Vacations will accept those in any amounts, even if it's for the full amount of your trip, if you've got enough. And we can help you with putting together those packages and applying those gift cards and everything like that to anywhere they travel. And they've got some great packages, besides the sun destinations. We got Europe, again, Asia and India now, down under. So again, lots of opportunities there to use up those air miles, Airplane points, and make it a little less difficult than just trying to find that airfare, which is sometimes hard to do.
Yeah, every little bit counts, right? Where you can save.
Exactly. I saw some good news this week. Maui, again, suffered that terrible firestorm and everything in the town, but the Royal Lahaina, which is one of the longtime really popular resorts right in the town, is back open and ready for tourists. So, again, you can find out more information on what's actually going on the Maui tourism website. And again, it's great to see everything starting to come back there. It's been a tough road for them.
Mm-hmm. We should actually do a segment on that and get some from Lahaina to talk about that.
Yeah. Exotic tours. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. A special package for your Formula One fans in exciting Qatar. 4 days, 3 nights. You can add extra days or another country or trip starting at only $7.99 double occupancy. So I get you 3 nights in a hotel, 3 breakfasts, return airport transfers, entrance to all 3 days of the race, free seating in a T16 grandstand, entrance to the fan village, access to the food court, entry to all the post-race concerts featuring international and Arabic artists, access to the merchandise and merchandise outlets, and complimentary return shuttles between the metro station and the circuit. So a really, really great opportunity if you're a fan. And they just actually doubled down on that. So if you're a real fan, the next race is in Abu Dhabi the next weekend.
Oh, wow.
And they've now thrown together a package where you can add a few days in between the races to stay in Dubai, which would be fabulous. And then a similar package for that race. So it makes you get 2 races, if you're going to go all the way over there. Again, double dipping on that airfare.
Well, yeah, it's a long way to go. So if you want to make the most of it, that's the way to do it, right?
Exactly. And like I say, when you look at the pricing and everything, when you compare to what you would pay, I know it's closer to home, but if you go to Vegas in US dollars and what they were charging and everything last year, this is a smoking deal.
It is a really good deal.
And again, big shout out, thank you to all our clients and to you that are listening, hopefully new clients listening to us each week. And remember, like both the Crowfoot Travel and Informed Traveler Facebook pages, check them out along with our websites. I know you in particular, Randy, are always keeping everybody updated on ongoing travel situations. And between the two of us, we've got all kinds of great travel stories, tips, tricks, and advice, along with some great travel offers and savings. And we'd like to also thank everybody because we're coming up on our 25th year here in a few months.
Woohoo!
So thank you, everybody who supported us over the years. And again, no matter how big or how small your trip is, we've got you looked after, then you can relax. It's all taken care of.
Indeed, sir. What's that phone number?
In Calgary, 403-241-7140. Outside Calgary, call us toll-free, 877-511-5511. Have a great week, everyone.
And that is our show for this week. If you have comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a show idea, send that along as well. My email is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you like what you heard, tell a friend. You can check out our website too at theinformedtraveler.org. In the meantime, thanks for listening, travel safe, and be an informed traveler.